What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Northeast Florida surf fishing forecast for September 14th through the 16th. A little bit of good news if you look at the wind forecast for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Phenomenal winds. You're looking at northeast to east winds Tuesday and Wednesday, 10 to 12, and Thursday, southeast, 8 to 10. Monday afternoon, the water actually was cleaning up very nice, getting the sandy green look, and fish were being caught up and down the Northeast Florida beaches. Whiting, a couple of pompano, black drum, sheephead, flounder, speckled trout, redfish, tarpon, Spanish mackerel, bluefish, and sharks, of course. In fact, there was several large sharks saw in the Jack's Beach area late Monday afternoon chasing mullet. Speaking of mullet, the mullet have been extremely thick. They're the thickest right now. If you get out there at sunrise, they're in inches of water. And if you actually want to target a tarpon right now, that would be the best time to do it. Get out there right as the sun's coming up and try to get a bigger mullet and put it right there in the breakers. Matt fished Monday morning and threw a mullet out as the sun was coming up and hooked about a 4 or 5 foot tarpon, he said, and it jumped a few times before breaking everything. So he wasn't trying to catch a tarpon, and that's why it broke everything. He was targeting trout and whatever else is swimming in the breakers right now. Water temps from Flagler all the way up to Fernandina are holding steady at 82. Not a bad temperature. The water feels good, actually. I will say, like I said, there's been quite a few sharks in the surf, so if you're one that likes to wade out and fish, make sure you're not putting shrimp in your pockets, anything that's giving off a scent, and definitely don't have a stringer of fish tied to you or near you. Those sharks are gonna find it and they will take care of that problem. Sand fleas have been plentiful. Jack's Beach, there have been some monster schools. Hannah Park as well. Ponte Vedra, if you haven't seen the beach in Ponte Vedra the last few days since we had all the swells come in, quite a bit of erosion, and the beach is definitely sloped even more now. So what you're gonna find is the sand fleas are a lot deeper. With that sloped beach, it seems like the waves are now breaking right up on the shore. And I was down there Monday afternoon. Sand flea schools, you'd see 1 or 2 sand fleas pop up, and that's where you'd have to dig. The sand flea rake I was not able to use as I was having to dig down about 5 inches. Once I hit that spot, tons of sand fleas. Like I said, some big whiting. I had a 17-inch whiting on Monday. Saw another guy caught an 18-inch whiting, and I saw Larry had some big whiting as well. So the whiting are here, and they are gorging on sand fleas. So it's going to be good. From this point forward, it's only going to get better fishing wise, as long as we don't have no storms come through and really mess up the water. Just remember, water's 82 right now. That magic number is 76. Once it hits about 76, the fish we're seeing out are going to be even more so along the beaches. And I have to check up in the Carolinas and see what their water temperature is. But last report I got was the Carolinas, they were hammering the pompano. So the colder the water gets up there, the sooner the fish will head down south. Same with the mullet. As the water drops up there, all their mullet will start heading south too. Remember, these mullet are migrating pretty good distance to warmer weather. So we'll have mullet emptying out of the St. Johns River here. We'll have mullet coming from up north, and everything else will be following these mullet. In fact, there's been some nice Spanish caught the last few days and over the weekend, up to 22, 23 inches, guys. And if you have a kayak and it actually gets calm enough within the next week, we have this east groundswell, so it may be a little bit hard, but just because you don't see any reports of kingfish doesn't mean they're there. These kingfish will follow the mullet as well, and along with the tarpon and big jack. So it's if you can get out there, it'd be fun. I actually talked to one of the pier workers when I went to catch some sand fleas by the pier Monday afternoon, and he actually said they've been seeing a lot of big sharks, tarpon, and he saw one king the last week or so out towards the end where they're working. Speaking of that, they removed a few more pilings off the end that were sunken, and they're getting pretty close to actually being able to start work on the actual T section of the pier. I think he said, I could be wrong if I didn't hear him right, they have 24 more pilings to put in. I think that's what he said. Now, I'm probably heard wrong, but I'll have to find out, but I think that's what I heard. Another thing we were going to mention, and we're going to bring it up at the seminar. Last few days, there's been some issues on the beach with etiquette, and it probably happens all over, I'm sure. But as fishermen, the best thing we can do is get along and fish and not have issues with one another. And one of the biggest things that has happened the last few days is people are fishing. They have the rods set up, and people are actually coming in between where these rods are set up and fishing between them and entangling up the people's line. That's just bad fishing etiquette, guys. Just think about how that works. If you were set up and then somebody else came along, you certainly wouldn't want them doing that to you. And like I've talked with a few other people, when everyone works together fishing-wise, you can have a lot more people fish a spot together without issues versus having one or two people fishing together and you have 4 or 5 people who don't want to help out, and it just causes all kinds of troubles, and it leads to frustrations, and we don't need any of that. We just need to fish and have fun. That's just what it boils down to. We got enough issues in our world that can lead to some anger. Let's not let fishing lead to that. Let's have fun and enjoy ourselves while we're fishing and help one another out. In fact, Monday afternoon, I helped a guy named John out. I just met him Monday afternoon. He says he watches the channel. Showed him how to tie my double dropper rig I use to catch drum and sheephead and reds and whiting. And that's what it's all about, guys. That's what this whole channel is about, is helping people get better at surf fishing and then just enjoying themselves. We like to make sure everyone's going out and having fun and bringing fish home. That's what the seminars are about. We don't charge people to come to the seminars because me and Chip, people taught us and we learned, and we just want to share that information with everyone else, paying it forward so you guys can learn and then you pay it forward to the next generation. Let's make some respectful fishermen out of all of us. That's what it boils down to. When I was growing up fishing, especially on the old pier, a lot of the older guys, now I'm one of the older guys, right? As a young kid, I was running up and down the planks of that old pier, and the knowledge that was passed on to me by generations of fishermen has really helped me be very productive at catching fish. And the main thing they taught me was about respect, respecting one another and all fellow fishermen and helping out. And that's what we're just trying to help carry on. So, and if you go to Rick's Bait and Tackle or North Guana Outpost, they now have the Sinker Guy Sputniks. In fact, the North Guana Outpost, they had to put in another order because they've sold them out so fast. And like I said, Rick's has them now too. So if you're in those areas, you can pick them up now. Strike Zone has them, and several other bait and tackle shops around the area. So we're going to need them coming up. We get into October, November, we're going to start to get to more of the Northeasters. And me personally, I don't let Northeast 15 to 20 scare me away from fishing in the surf, because let me tell you, that wind, you got a Sputnik you're going to be able to hold, but man, those fish, when that water drops and you get that northeast wind, big whiting, big pompano, big drum, big trout, big reds, they all go on a feeding frenzy, especially for those sand fleas and live finger mullet. So that's all I got. Like to see some reports, guys. There's a lot of fish around, so hopefully everyone's catching something. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments section. And if you haven't, go watch our seminar that me and Chip put on. It's on our YouTube. It's on his YouTube. And let us know what you think. We'll try to get a video report from the beach either late Tuesday or Wednesday. Hopefully we're accurate this time in predicting how clean the water is going to be. But the winds look good. And in fact, I was looking at the next 7-day forecast. We got some very favorable winds all the way through. Surf's going to be coming down a lot, so I don't know if we've really talked about it before, but it's pretty much, it's like a broken record. We get west wind, it goes flat, and then it goes over to the north, northeast. The wind directions when the fronts come through, it's just like a clock. It always goes from, when the front comes through, it'll be northwest, then north, then northeast, east, southeast, all the way to south. The water gets dirtied, and we just keep on going around. But what you'll notice is the first few days of the northeast wind, if it's not too strong, the fish bite phenomenal. Then it'll taper off as the winds calm down and the current calms down. Now the opposite is if it's northeast and it's too rough, you know, you get northeast 25 and up, which happens in the fall with these cold fronts. Especially if you're just fishing along the beach, not inside the inlets, which you can still do. So it'll get too rough. The first couple of days after it becomes fishable again is usually phenomenal. So keep that in mind. And if you haven't, go watch our water temperature video, because watch that, you're gonna know what's coming up. I like the spring fishing because we get all the species, but the fall fishing, you know, I like it better because we get all the species and they're much fatter and bigger. They've had a whole summer of eating and they're heading south. So hope that helps. We'll be back either Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday. Let us see your reports. We'll put them up on our Facebook page, and watch your toes in the surf. The sharks are cruising. Don't be putting no shrimp juice on your toes, guys. Have a good one.